Hey, Dan Sissick here, and today I'm doing a blog post. I haven't done one in a few days. I was sick this last week and not feeling good, so energy level was not quite where it should have been. I went to work and basically went to work and came home and just, was ready to just, relax and go to bed and try and get over. I'm still kind of there, still have the cough, but I'm getting over it. The voice isn't quite so raspy, but in today's video, I came across a great post that I found on Facebook that one of the people I follow in my newsfeed, and it led me to a Huffing Post college blog post about why Generation Y yuppies are unhappy. And basically, in the gist, it talks, the author goes on and, talks about reasons why Generation Y seems to be unhappy or not feeling where that life is where they were expecting it to be. And in this post, I may take a little bit longer, but I got a lot out of this post because it even spoke to me, even though I'm not a Generation Y person. I'm a baby boomer. I come in at the tail end of it. I was born in '63. My, my mom was born in the mid '40s, late '40s, so she's definitely part of that baby boomer age, and I'm right at the tail end because when my mom gave birth to me, she was 16. She was still a kid herself. So hence why I was still part of that. Um, and to uh, so with that, I had a lot of influence from my grandparents, my grandmother especially, who is from the greatest generation that lived through the Depression era. And so through that, they lived through a lot. And so they focused on having a secure life and having things secure because of the fear and things they went through during that period in their life. Well, I got a lot of that exposed and kind of put in my head because of my grandmother. One of the biggest influences of my life, probably the biggest influence of my life. Um, and I was, basically under her influence until I was 12, but she was always there and she laid that framework and groundwork. Then when I was 12, I moved to be with my aunt and uncle due to family situations and issues of abuse and, things like that and neglect. So my aunt and uncle, um, my grandparents' second oldest daughter, uh, took me and got custody of me and my sister. So from there, I was under that influence. So I think because of the influence that their parents had, you know, my aunt was kind of more along that same line, secure, working towards, having it, getting my education, getting my college degree, things like that. So yeah, all that was good and said and done, but deep down, the one thing that was different about my grandmother is that she always was telling me I was special, that I could do whatever I wanted, and that I could achieve anything I wanted. And that's kind of what has happened with the Generation Y. You know, they've because of how prosperity and things have gotten over the last 50 or so years, you know, up until the recent Great Recession, you know, prosperity was out there. People were really doing more and greener and happier, and people were living bigger and better and happier lives. So therefore, they always thought that that green grass was always going to be there. But in this article I came across, Lucy is the main character of this Generation Y um, uh, blog. And the Generation Y was born between the late 1970s and mid 1990s. She is also a part of the yuppie culture that makes up a large portion of the Generation Y. But in this post, he gives a special term to a lot of these people, and he calls them gypsies. Basically, he's saying that these gypsies are one who thinks they are the main character of a very special story. I go one step further. I think we all feel that we're, the main character of a very special story. It just depends on how we relate to it and where we come from. But he points out that, even though overall she's pleased to be Lucy, but she's kind of unhappy. And to get to the bottom of that reason why, we need to define what makes someone happy and unhappy in the first place. It comes down to a simple formula. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. So therefore, out there in the real world, as Lucy has gotten more into it, her expectations are way up here, what life will be, and reality tends to put her down here, and so she seems to be unhappy. But, that's not the main point. The point is, there's nothing wrong with looking and, wanting the grass to be greener, as we call it, on the other side. We always tend to look at that and think everything else is always better or greener, or, you know, that's what we want, to be or go after. But, um, you know, she's been constantly told that she's special, and two, she's widely ambitious. Wants to do more than what the average person seems to want to do because of the prosperity and the things and what she's seen and what's out there. You know, and they don't like to settle. The gypsy needs a lot more from a career than a nice green lawn of prosperity and security. The fact is, a green lawn isn't quite exceptional or unique enough for the gypsy. That goes back to them feeling special and that uniqueness and that they're, that special person, that story. Um, there's, a term that we've heard over the last 20 years or so, follow your passion. It's a catchphrase that's really been around for the last 20 years, and it's, caught on in a lot of ways, and even here, even in building my business and building, what I'm doing, they say that, if you do what you love, do your passion, you'll not feel like you're working and you'll never work another day in your life. And I think that's kind of where the gypsies are. They want to have that passion and pursue that passion, but life tends to get in the way sometimes. And when they're young, they get knocked down or don't, that because they already feel they're so up here and deserve everything and have a sense of entitlement that is not really supposed to be there. Because after a while, I think you learn that, nothing comes by just because you're entitled to it. Anything that's worthwhile takes time to work and build and go after and work for. But if you look at society and where things are at today, a lot of people don't like to say a secure career. It's kind of gone out of style because being secure kind of is passe, or it's like what our parents were or grandparents were, because there's prosperity there. People are doing okay. Now we kind of have come back a little bit to hit, and we want to be a little more secure, but we're changing it up a little bit. We want a fulfilling career. We want to still be secure, but have it fulfill us and have that passion, have that, something that carries us through. And I think that's where this is what the author of this blog was about. The other thing is that, going back to what I was talking about, that she's special and wonderful and better than everybody else in a way. It really soaks in, and I think they take it to that next level, and I think we as ourselves can do that sometimes too. But there's nothing wrong with being special. It's just realizing that we're not entitled to anything just because we feel that way. I think in working and striving and achieving and going after that dream and working hard for it, as we've seen in the past, as I'm hearing from stories from my mentors on my morning mindset call with Paul Hutchings about Think and Grow Rich, about hearing about Henry Ford, hearing about Andrew Carnegie, and some of these people who, developed massive fortunes, and a lot of them were poor when they first started out, had nothing. But because they had the dream and the drive and desire and the willingness to chase after that dream and not let any stand in their way, I think that's kind of where we can go from this, that, people tend to expect things because they just expect it, and out there with social media and everything out there being bombarded at us, movies, TV, commercials, social media, everything out there is, bombarding us and telling us this, 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 this. So we tend to look at ourselves and, internalize it and say, well, we're not here because of where they are, that. And so then we even sink lower and go below where our expectations are in the reality, and then we become frustrated and unhappy. And in a lot of cases, people give up or just settle for what. And I'm not saying settle. I don't think there's any reason to settle. I think that it should help be a driving force, that to go back to that core foundation of that, yes, I am special. Yes, I am somebody that um, can do it. I am able to do it. But realize I have limits, I have abilities, and I have to learn and grow beyond those limits and those abilities and train myself in that. You know, in this post, as a close, there's some advice, some great advice, and I think it's good. And I'm going to give the link to this post so that way you can read it and see the whole thing for yourself. And hopefully some of what I said will finally gel and coalesce more into what this post is about and help you see that, you know, my wish for you is that if you are feeling like that, or if you feel like there's more for you, step out and do it. But going back to the advice, stay wildly ambitious. The current world is bubbling with opportunity for an ambitious person to find flowery, fulfilling success. So the specific direction may be unclear, but it'll work itself out. Just dive in somewhere. Well, that's what I did about a year and a half ago. I've dabbled in some things in the past, but I got into what I'm doing, what I'm building my business now, and I'm loving it. I enjoy it. I like it. I'm stretching myself beyond limits that I never thought I would ever stretch. I'm growing. My mind is changing. My mindset's growing. I'm doing things I never thought I would do. So in that sense, I agree with that. Stop thinking that you're special. The fact is that, at some point in time, you're not special. There are times where you're not special. Especially if you're young, you haven't lived enough, you haven't done enough, you know, you don't have enough out there. Or if you're jumping into a new venture like I did this last year and a half. I've never blogged before, I've never done some of those things, so don't think I'm special. Doesn't mean that you can't do it, or doesn't mean that it can't become what you want it to be, but it will take time, it will take work, it will take perseverance and determination. The other thing, the third one, and I hear this a lot just in general from my mentors, from people I'm following, from books I'm reading, ignore everyone else. Other people's grass seemingly greener is no new concept. We've heard it before. We've all lived with it. We've all dealt with it. But in today's image crafting world, others people's grass looks like a glorious meadow. The truth is that everyone else is just as indecisive, self-doubting, and frustrated as you are. For the most case, there are people out there, mentors that I'm following, that are living their dreams, living their life, doing what they want to do, but they're helping others now, and they're showing and helping others find that path for their dreams. And that's what I'm doing. I want to help you find your path and find your dreams. And if you just do your thing, you'll never have a reason to envy others. So with this, I know it was a little bit of a long post, but I strongly suggest you go read this blog post on the link. This is where I got a lot of the information from, and I hope you get a lot out of my post, my blog post today, and my video, and I hope you get a lot of information from what they posted on this blog. So thanks, make it a great day, and I'll talk to you later.